Your next witness, Mr. Lally?
Yes, Your Honor. The Commonwealth call Officer Nicholas Barros to the stand.
Okay.
You sworn to the evidence given to the court and jury in the case now and here for the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I did.
So, all right, whenever you're ready, Mr. Lally.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, sir.
Morning.
Could you please state your name and spell your last name for the jury?
Nicholas Barros, B-A-R-R-O-S,
And how are you employed, sir?
with the town of Dayton.
And what, if any, role or what do you do for the town of Dayton?
I'm a police sergeant for the police department.
And how long in total have you been a member of the Dayton Police?
In total, started in 2011, 14 years this December.
And how long have you had the rank of sergeant with the Dayton Police?
A year and a half.
Now, if I could direct your attention to January 29th, 2022. Do you recall that date?
I do.
And were you working that date?
I was.
And do you recall what kind of shift you were working on that occasion?
I was working the 8 to 4, the day shift.
And was that the only shift that you had worked on that occasion, or how long had you been on shift by the time you came on for the 8 to 4?
That particular day, I was working from 8 a.m. to midnight. It was on a double.
Now, at some point when you first came in, with reference, if you could explain to the jury just briefly or in general terms, when you come on shift for the Dayton Police, what, if any, communication, well, first and foremost, what was your role as far as that particular shift was concerned?
I was the officer in charge that day, from 8 a.m. to midnight. When I came in at 8 a.m., the outgoing shift, the midnight to 8 shift, had advised me that a resident had called the police station on a 911 call requesting a ride to Brockton Hospital to meet his daughter due to her daughter's boyfriend passing away, and he needed a ride due to the snowstorm.
And then, as your shift continued, what, if any, further contact or who, if anyone, reached out to you in regard to that earlier situation?
Later on, I believe it was around 2:30 in the afternoon, I received a phone call from the Norfolk District Attorney's Office with the troopers assigned there, and they had stated that they were going to come to Dayton to retrieve a vehicle that was involved in a homicide.
And did they give you a specific address as far as where they were going?
I believe the address was 345 Country Hill Drive in Dayton, North Dayton.
And with regard to that address, what, if anything, did you recognize between that and the earlier call that you were just speaking of?
That was the address that came up on the 911 call when that gentleman had called earlier on the prior shift.
And at some point, did you come to find out who the residents were at that address on Country Hill Lane?
I did.
Okay.
Who did you find them to be?
It was the Reed residence.
All right, so Sergeant, I'm going to ask you to keep your voice up, and Mr. Lally, you too. Thank you.
And the Reed residence, was that a William and Janet Reed, is that correct?
Correct.
Now, as far as you received that call at about 2:30, do you know specifically who you spoke to around 2:30 in the afternoon?
Trooper Michael Proctor.
And as far as that earlier information that you were talking about with the 911 call, what, if anything, from that did you impart to Trooper Proctor?
I advised Trooper Proctor that we did receive a 911 call on the midnight to 8 shift about the resident looking to get a ride to Brockton Hospital.
And during that initial call, how was it sort of left as far as what, if anything, you were going to provide as far as assistance or with regard to the troopers on that first call?
On the first call, the troopers just had asked me if I could meet them at that residence as a courtesy since they were coming into my jurisdiction.
And what, if anything, did they indicate to you as far as where they were or when they felt they would be arriving in that area?
Trooper Proctor advised me that they were heading, I believe, from Canton, and once they were about 10 minutes away, they would recontact me so that I could meet them at the residence.
And subsequently, later in that afternoon, did you receive further contact from Trooper Proctor?
I did.
And do you know about what time that was?
I believe the first phone call was around 3 p.m. that he had called me and said that they would be there in about 10 minutes.
And upon receiving that call, what, if anything, did you do?
I had contacted, Trooper Proctor had asked me to contact our tow company to have them meet us at the residence as well. And I said once I hung up with him, I would contact the tow company and then respond to that address on Country Hill Drive.
And is there a specific tow company that the Dayton Police uses with regard to towing of vehicles within the town?
During that period, it was Diamond Towing.
And so did you contact someone at Diamond Towing in reference to responding to that address as well?
I did. I contacted the owner, and he responded.
Now, as far as that area of Dayton, if you could explain to the jury sort of what you observed as you were coming down towards that residence on that day.
Okay, so when I responded to that address, that street is off of 138. When I turned onto Country Hill Drive, I was traveling west. When I arrived on that street, I observed a black pickup truck parked on the street facing east. I was flagged down by that black pickup truck by the driver and was told that they were the troopers that I had spoke to, Trooper Michael Proctor and the other sergeant.
Sergeant that left the room as you were coming in?
Correct.
And what if any identification did they provide to you in reference to that?
They showed me their ID and their badges.
And then from there, where did you proceed?
I had parked my marked police vehicle at the end of the driveway since it was a snowstorm and we could not get into the driveway, and then we walked up to the residence.
So when you say it was a snowstorm and we couldn't get into the driveway, can you expound upon that a little as far as explain to the jury why it was that you couldn't get into the driveway?
It was about a foot of snow in the driveway.
And as far as that snow that you observed when you arrived there, was that snow, how did that snow appear as far as, did it appear as if it had been shoveled or snow blown or untouched, or how did it appear?
It was untouched.
Now, as you're going through the snow, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it's yourself, Trooper Proctor, and the sergeant from the state police, and who, if anyone else, is going along with you?
I had an officer that was field training with me that day, and he was with me as well, and we went up to the residence.
And as you're walking up to the residence, what, if anything, did you come upon as you're going towards, say, any door or getting closer to the home?
I remained at the garage. The two troopers went to the front door and made contact with the homeowner.
Now, as far as you were there specifically for a vehicle, correct?
Correct.
Did you observe a vehicle in the driveway at any time?
Yes, we observed a black Lexus SUV in the driveway.
And what, if any, observations did you make to the rear area of that vehicle specifically?
At first, I did not go up to the vehicle. I just remained at the driveway and waited for the troopers to come back. And once they came back, they were let into the house through the garage. I had walked in with them briefly and then went back out to the garage and remained with the vehicle.
And as far as at any point in time, did you have any conversation with anyone named Karen Reed that day while you were at the house?
I did not.
Now, with respect to you come back out to the garage, is that correct?
Correct.
And the troopers are inside the house, is that also correct?
Correct.
Now, at some point, do other vehicles come down to the driveway area of this residence that you were at?
I had contacted the highway superintendent after speaking with the troopers about how to retrieve the vehicle since the driveway was untouched and had about a foot of snow. I had made the decision that I would call the highway superintendent and see if that he would come and plow the driveway so that the tow truck would have access inside in the driveway.
And just in reference to this driveway, just if you could, not exact footage or anything, but how close is this Lexus SUV parked in relation to the roadway? How long is that driveway?
It's got to be about 150 feet off the roadway, if not more.
And if you recall, from where you're standing at the point of the garage, was what part of the vehicle was facing you? Was it the front of the vehicle, the back of the vehicle, the side of the vehicle? If you know?
I was looking at the left side of the vehicle.
And at some point, did you make any observations of the right rear part of that Lexus SUV?
I did.
And what, if anything, did you observe about that area of the vehicle?
I saw that there was some damage to the right rear taillight. To my best ability and recollection, that taillight was not completely damaged. It was cracked, and a piece was missing, but not completely damaged.
And then beyond the taillight area of that vehicle, what, if anything else, did you observe as far as damage to the rear passenger side area?
Like a dent on the rear quarter.
And as far as the dent on the rear quarter panel that you saw, was that above the taillight, below the taillight, or something?
It's probably right in conjunction with the taillight in that same area.
And from the time that you made these observations of the vehicle, at any point did you go sort of physically up to the vehicle?
I walked up to the vehicle, correct.
And about how far away from the vehicle did you get?
5 to 10 feet away.
And as far as the sort of outside or exterior of the vehicle, you mentioned obviously there's about a foot of snow on the ground. What, if anything, precipitation-wise or weather-wise, was around or on the outside of the vehicle?
Just snow.
And in particular, in this area of the right rear passenger side and that taillight, was there any snow or ice or anything around that area that you observed?
On the vehicle itself?
Yes.
Yes, on the vehicle there was snow on the vehicle.
And not to put words in your mouth, but sort of caked on there, is that correct?
I guess you could say caked on, correct.
So you'd reached out to the highway superintendent to have someone come out and plow the driveway, correct?
Correct.
And do you know about how long it was between the time that you made that call and the time that the plow driver came out to clear it?
Less than 10 minutes.
And the sort of clearing of the driveway and the process of that, do you know about how long that took?
I'd say another 10 minutes or so.
And as far as the time that the troopers went into the house, at some point the troopers obviously came out of the house, correct?
Correct.
Do you know about how long it was that they were inside of the house?
More than 30 minutes, less than an hour.
Now, at any point in time that while you were there, did you yourself or did you see anyone else touching or making any contact or manipulating or anything in that rear passenger side area of either the taillight or the dent that you
I did not.
And I'm sorry.
I did not.
If I may have a moment, John?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Okay, cross-examination? No questions. All right, Sergeant Barros, you are all set, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.